Welcome back, everyone, to another WandaVision breakdown. Big things happen, and it's exciting. And one word to describe all this is crazy. And everything about it just feels crazy. And we got lots of reveals this episode, even though some of them didn't feel revealed. But let's get started. So, just a brief recap. Wanda is pregnant, just like I said last episode. That was the cliffhanger of last episode. So, because she gets pregnant, and apparently because of Wanda's powers, because of her powers, she basically so I don't know. Well, people should know this by now that when someone's pregnant, it takes them at least like I don't know, like 12 months at least. I'm assuming around that time, like maybe 9 or 10 months, but a while, okay? So basically a while, almost like a full school year, maybe. That's true, okay? So basically, but apparently Wanda is her powers are so strong that she's basically able to skip all that in a single day. And then Vision even makes a joke about when when the baby starts kicking. Wanda says how Vision says, well, to be fair, the baby is 9 months early, so he does say that. Anyway, but Wanda also eats oranges, which is also an Easter egg to Civil War because you see Scott Lang after growing Giant Man went during Civil War. He says, "Does anyone have any orange slices?" Probably, and then in Endgame, he also gives that to Clint after he goes back in time for the time heist test, not the actual time heist itself, but like what when he actually went back in time to his house before his family got dusted and he was able to grab that glove. So he was able to give him that because he obviously knows that pin particles are very tiring. Yeah. And then there's also another ad for something called Hydra Soap, which I'll get to in a minute. Find the goddess within. Uh, Oh yeah, this guy's the doctor who was seeing them, and the doctor was actually gonna go on vacation after he visited Wanda, but I guess he decided not to. So yeah, uh, I wonder how that turned out. Monica Rambeau also shows up because, as I said earlier, Wanda's powers are so powerful that every time the baby starts kicking in, what ends up happening is the lights they go out and for the entire neighborhood the lights go out in the entire neighborhood, so Monica has to come over. Oh yeah, by the way, her fake name is actually Geraldine, even though it's like not really true. Like it's actually fake because obviously she's a sword agent. I've been trying to explain this to you all over the trailers. Anyway, if you also don't know, Monica Rambeau is actually the little girl from Captain Marvel. She's actually the little the little girl from Captain Marvel. So you should watch that movie, honestly, though. Anyway, so yeah, Monica was gonna show up in here, and because if you remember, Monica was a little girl in Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel took place in the '90s. So obviously she would be an adult right now, not a teenager, an adult. So not like Spider-Man's age, but an actual adult. So anyway, so Monica shows up, and she also helps with the twins, and that's probably a great thanks to Wanda because what happens is Wanda tries to fake it that she's actually pregnant because she has to like cover herself, but then eventually once the baby start kicking, uh, she's like it just feels so bad pain for her that she has to like let it, and then after that, and after Monica's like you're pregnant, and then she's like oh my god the baby's coming, and then yeah, well. So Vision actually missed the first one because he was running out to go get the doctor, and Vision kind of has super speed somehow because, I mean, I guess, which is probably why one of his twins has the power of speed. I think. Oh yeah. Also in that episode, they were also debating over what to name the child. Wanda wanted to name the children Tommy, and Vision wanted to name him Billy for some reason. But anyway, so they actually, luckily for them, Wanda says, "Well, we should hope for a girl." That's actually a reference to Wanda's sister in the comics, Polaris, who is supposed to be, I'm pretty sure, an X-Men character. So yeah, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, these cute little boys come out, and yeah. Luckily for them, they actually had twins, or else that would have been an issue. So Vision walks the doctor out, and as they're walking out, so the doctor's saying like stuff like, I was planning on going on vacation, as you can look at a shirt from the screen, but I don't think that's probably gonna be possible now because small town, so hard to escape. So my theory is that the reason why he was actually trying to go on vacation was because he was trying to escape this town because as after right after this scene, right after this scene, we have the scene with Agnes and Herb. So yeah, because what happens then is that the scene with Agnes and Herb is supposed to show how because Herb says she had no home, she had no family, and then Vision's like, what? I'm so confused. And then because I think what he's trying to say was he's trying to reference Wanda after Endgame because I don't know where Wanda went, and it wasn't really that clear because Spider-Man Far From Home never really like mentioned anything about Wanda, especially since she kind of caused the whole Civil War thing, and the government never said anything about it either. So I'm assuming came over here. Wanda came over here to Westview, but she took it over the town and she basically made it her own somehow. Anyway, and yeah, and then Herb says she came here because, and then she came here because we're all. But everybody on the internet is assuming that he was gonna say trapped, and I have to agree with that. I do think he was gonna say trapped. And then also Monica gets revealed because this is what happens. Oh my god, this is another Easter egg. Wanda sings a song in Sokovian because remember Wanda is from Sokovia. So and remember Sokovia was destroyed, and we're probably gonna see it in the next Marvel show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I will be doing episode videos for that, obviously. So Monica gets revealed by saying he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? Which, to be honest, that was true. But obviously, the way how Monica knows this is because Monica is an agent of Sword, so she would know that because obviously Ultron is supposed to be a supernatural being. So the Sword keeps track of all people who are like natural, and you can also see the Sword logo on her necklace, which I've been trying to point out in all those in the hints video. Click the card at the top if you want to see that, and yeah, also check out the rest of my channel. So because I have a lot of stuff I could talk about. And Lego. Okay, so Wanda ends up kicking Monica out, and Vision asks, "Where is Geraldine?" And then Vision and then Wanda kind of evilly says, "Oh, she had to go." And it's actually really kind of creepy because in the trailers we actually see Monica getting bursted out, but this is what happens to her. She ends up getting bursted out of Westview because there's like a border, and then she ends up flying through, and then Sword has to try to find her. So yeah, Sword has to end up fighting her. Now, I actually want to go over these for just a minute. So these are okay. So now all of these ads have something to do with all of these ads that you actually see here are all have to do with some sort of Wanda's past. For example, okay, let's start with the first one from episode 1. This thing right here is actually made by Howard Stark by Stark Industries. You can't see it because the picture doesn't show fully, but it is made by Stark Industries and it was made by Howard Stark. So obviously, since this was actually made by Howard Stark, logically, this has something to do with Wanda's past because if you remember, Tony Stark created a bomb that actually ended up killing their parents, which was probably why Wanda and Pietro had a huge grudge against him, and that's why they kind of wanted to kill him, which was why they actually joined Hydra. But yeah, now the other two ads should be pretty obvious, but I don't know though. But the the one from the third episode is a little bit confusing though. So the second one is for the Strucker watch. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm just gonna call it that for now. Don't judge me. Anyway, in the comments, of course. So let me know what you guys think these are in the comments. If you have any other hidden meanings, but yeah. So Strucker, and this is called the Strucker watch, and this watch has the Hydra logo on it, which was made by Hydra. If you remember, after I said the Howard Stark Easter egg, I said that was the reason why they actually joined Hydra to become experimented on. So what ended up happening was, so Strucker was actually the name of the same person who was making that. Also, by the way, the Howard Stark thing, this invention makes the exact same sound effect as the Iron Man repulsors. So yeah, it makes the exact same sound effect. So always keep that in mind. And then this last one, Hydra reference, is this one actually might have another meaning, but yeah. So the Hydra soak. Also, one detail to be pointed out is all these octopuses that you see on the background is actually kind of a reference to. It's actually a reference to Hydra, obviously, and then it says find the goddess within, which I think is supposed to be a reference to Wanda, because if you remember, click the card at the top. Remember, you have to remember that that Wanda is one of those characters who's powered by an Infinity Stone. So characters who are powered by an Infinity Stone are going to be very strong. Now, one detail I should point out from the comics is that we know that Monica Rambeau was Monica Rambeau in the comics was actually a superhero named Photon, and yeah, I don't know all the other names, just Photon I remember. So she was called Photon at one point, and what was and she had her powers, and her powers are kind of similar to Captain Marvel. So I'm thinking that since Captain Marvel's powers come from the Space Stone, I'm assuming that all of that red energy blast from because remember Wanda ends up kicking her out of Westview, like literally doing that. So she does that, and like she does that, and she actually does that, and like a lot of red energy is like coming around her. So obviously, so yeah, so the goddess could be a reference to Wanda, and yeah, so and now these twins are named Billy and Tommy, and Wanda also sings it to Kobe, and we already mentioned that. Then Billy and Tommy are also Wanda also says, "Oh, you're so strong," because that's probably a reference to Tommy, because remember Tommy is supposed to be Wiccan, who has the same powers as Wanda. She has the same powers as Wanda, so he's obviously going to be very powerful. Now I'm pretty sure that the one who was sleeping is supposed to be Billy, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure though. Anyway, also the intro for this is similar to a show called called the Brady Bunch from the 70s or 60s. I don't know. Anyway, and then the TV ad, this woman here also says, "You read my mind," after because what ends up happening is like she's basically going through a hard time where like she's trying to eat cereal, but then after that somebody throws a ball at it. Uh, she accidentally burned something, and then after that she couldn't make a smoothie, but yeah. And then, so yeah, so the guy in the advertisement was like, "Do you need a break?" And then she's like, "Yeah, you read my mind," so which is probably a reference to Wanda, because if you remember, Wanda can also read people's minds, and she can also control them, which actually might be what she's also doing to the people of Westview. So yeah, until they probably snap out of it eventually. Anyway, so this has a better view of the sword logo on Monica Rambeau, because I told you Monica Rambeau has the same same necklace as some of the sword logos. And you remember Wanda actually recognizes this because from the beekeeper, because of the because the so the beekeeper is actually a sword agent, but I'm going to actually explain how he got inside of Westview. So if you remember, Westview has a border, and Monica ends up being pushed through that. So here's what happens. So the beekeeper went through a sewer, and that's how he got in. But for some reason, it was covered in bees somehow. But anyway, that makes no sense. Anyway, so then after that, Wanda probably just kicks him out, and she's like, "No," and then she just ends up rewinding the whole thing. And then we also find a helicopter there, which I have a theory in episode 2. I have a theory that maybe the helicopter was a real helicopter that actually got a little too close to the border, and then ended up turning into a toy. And that helicopter was carrying the beekeeper and Monica. That's my theory, but yeah. So, and then another Easter eggs is Wanda also tells him that oh, by the way, Agnes also tells Herb to stop it when Herb is about to reveal it. So, which is kind of the same way how Mr. Hart's wife was doing in episode 1, Vision's boss. So yeah, from work, obviously, it's actually kind of weird to see Vision working because he's a robot, so he doesn't really need to. Anyway, so the twins, they're still here, and Monica gets. Oh, by the way, the song playing in the background once Monica is like pushed out of the border is the song Sleepy Jean, which was actually playing during the trailer for trailer for WandaVision, if you remember, because I made a breakdown on that. Click the card also. But yeah. Also check out the rest of my channel. You really should, because I have a lot of Marvel content. Well, I don't have a lot, but I have some Marvel content. Anyway,
What's a single girl like you doing rattling around this big house?
See, this is what I mean.
Married to a man, a human one. An unusual couple.
And they actually play the same song when Monica gets thrown out. It's actually quite weird because it's supposed to be more of a dark moment, and then Wanda kind of becomes the villain when she basically tells him that, "Oh, she left, honey," and yeah. So that's all the stuff I found in WandaVision, and yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will make more episode breakdowns for all the Marvel shows. So keep watching, and I'll see you in the next one.